This true story was published online. Some details have been changed to protect privacy. But the question at the center of it remains the same. How well do we really know the people sleeping beside us? She thought betrayal had limits. A secret message. A hidden account. A coworker who stayed too close. Those were the kinds of things she imagined when people talked about marriages falling apart. But according to the story she shared online, the betrayal in her house did not come from a stranger. It came from her mother. At first, it was only a feeling. A strange silence when she entered the room. A look that disappeared too quickly. A joke that sounded harmless until she remembered it later and felt her stomach turn. Her husband and her mother had always been close, but families are supposed to be close. That was the excuse her mind kept offering. Then she found them together. Not suspiciously. Not emotionally. Not in a way that could be explained by panic, bad timing, or a misunderstood conversation. Together. There are moments the brain refuses to understand because the truth would destroy too much at once. She was not just looking at a cheating husband. She was looking at the woman who raised her. The woman who had held her as a child, given advice, sat at family dinners, and watched her build a marriage with the same man she had secretly crossed a line with. And the worst part was that this did not appear to be a one-time mistake. As the truth began to unfold, she started questioning years of family life. Old memories changed shape. Holidays. Birthdays. Casual visits. Her mother smiling across the table. Her husband acting normal beside her father. Everyone playing their part in a family photo that, in hindsight, may have been built around a lie. Then came the part that made the story almost impossible to process. There were children in the family whose paternity was suddenly no longer certain. Children she had known as siblings. Children whose existence now raised a question no one should ever have to ask about their own family. Could some of them be her husband's children? Pause there for a second. What would you do if the betrayal was not only inside your marriage, but possibly written into your family tree? Would you expose everything immediately, or would you freeze because the truth could hurt people who never chose any of this? That is what makes this story so disturbing. It is not only about an affair. It is about what happens when adults create a secret so large that children, spouses, and relatives are forced to live inside it. The daughter told her father. And that should have been the moment when everyone stood clearly on one side, the side of the betrayed. But families are rarely that clean. Some people were horrified. Others seemed more disturbed by the exposure than by the betrayal itself. Once the truth was out, the daughter became inconvenient. She had not created the damage, but she had made it visible. She had turned whispers into facts. She had forced people to choose between comfort and reality. That is one of the darkest patterns in family betrayal. Sometimes people do not hate the lie. They hate the person who makes the lie impossible to keep. Her mother faced consequences. Her reputation changed. Her place in the family collapsed. And somehow, the daughter began to feel guilty. Not because she had done anything wrong, but because telling the truth had set fire to everything around her. This is where manipulation becomes almost invisible. Someone can destroy your trust, your marriage, your relationship with your parent, and your sense of reality. But if you speak too loudly, if you expose too much, if you refuse to suffer quietly, suddenly people ask why you had to make it worse. Worse for whom? For the person who was betrayed? Or for the people who were comfortable while the betrayal stayed hidden? And if stories like this make you wonder what people hide behind closed doors, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Listen in the Dark. There are more stories waiting here, the kind that make you ask what you would do if the truth landed in your own house. Now think about the husband. In some affairs, people try to hide behind excuses. Loneliness. Weakness. A marriage that was already broken. A moment that went too far. But this was his wife's mother. Every family visit became part of the deception. Every dinner, every smile, every conversation where he knew something she did not. He was not only betraying his wife, he was turning her family into a stage. Her father was on that stage. The children were on that stage. She was on that stage, watching people she loved perform normal life while hiding something that could break her. That is why betrayal like this feels different. It contaminates memories. A mother giving marriage advice no longer sounds like wisdom. A husband laughing at the table no longer feels innocent. A family photo becomes evidence. And after the truth comes out, the betrayed person is left asking a question that can drive someone mad. Was I the only one who did not know? The woman said she planned to leave him. From the outside, that seems obvious. Of course she should leave. Of course there's no repairing something like this. But trauma does not move at the speed of comment sections. Leaving means grieving more than a marriage. It means grieving the mother she thought she had, the husband she thought she knew, and the family story she believed was real. It means accepting that the people closest to her may have been willing to let her live inside a lie because the lie protected them. And then there are the innocent people caught in the middle. If children were involved, they did not ask to become proof of anyone's betrayal. They did not choose secrecy, or adults gambling with their identities and relationships. So the tragedy is not that children exist. The tragedy is that adults may have built a life where the children could inherit consequences they never created. That is why this story should not be treated like cheap gossip. It is not just a scandal. It is a warning about secrets that grow so large they stop belonging only to the people who created them. So here is the moral question. Who destroys a family more, the people who betray it, or the person who finally tells the truth? Many families survive by staying silent. They call it peace. They call it maturity. They say, do not make this harder than it already is. But harder for whom? For the people who lied? For the relatives who do not want to choose sides? For the ones who would rather blame the messenger? The most haunting part of this story is not only that a husband could betray his wife with her mother. It is that the daughter, after discovering something that would break almost anyone, still wondered if she was the one who had ruined everything. That is how deep family loyalty can cut. Even when it wounds you, you can mistake the pain for responsibility. Maybe she did not destroy the family. Maybe she only stopped protecting the version of the family that had already been destroyed in secret. Now I want to know what you think. Could a family ever recover from a truth like this? Would you expose everything, even if reputations, relationships, and innocent people were hurt in the process? Or are there some truths so destructive that part of them should stay buried? And one more question. If everyone says revealing the truth destroyed the family, how do you remember it was already broken before you spoke? Tell me in the comments. Was she right to expose everything, or should some secrets stay hidden when too many people could be hurt? And if this story made you think, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Listen in the Dark for more true stories about what people are capable of when no one is watching.